Let's walk through the installation process for WebCat. I'm assuming you've unpacked the WAR in your Servlet Containers deployment directory. Your URL for connection might require a port number or be slightly different, but this is how ours looks on Tomcat on our server. The first step is installing your WebObjects license. And I'll put our deployment license key in here. You have to purchase one from Apple, but you can get it from Apple's store at a nice educational discount. After entering the license, you'll be able to move to the first step of the self-installer. And that is a pre-installation check. The most important thing is that the configuration file where WebCat is going to save its settings is writable. And you'll see a summary of other information about the application on this page. After clicking Next, you will go to the license agreement. WebCat is distributed under the GPL. After agreeing to the license, you can click Next and continue to the first step of the real installation. The first step is giving your MySQL connection information, the host for your MySQL server, the port number for your MySQL server, the username under which WebCat is going to connect, the password under which WebCat is going to connect, and choose one that's more secure than this, and the name of the database within MySQL where WebCat is going to store its information. When you click Next, WebCat will connect to the server and set up the database for you. If you check to drop any existing database during an upgrade, it will erase all of your data and populate the database schema fresh. The second step is entering your site parameters. There's a place for you to put an identifier that will be used in the subject lines of outgoing email messages from the server, a place for the front door, the URL, the main entry point for your WebCat instance, a separate URL for an external login page if you want to use one, and I'm not going to use one in this setting. A place for you to enter the storage directory where WebCat is going to store its file-based information that's not contained in the database. And here I'll put in the path that we are using here. And also a place for WebCat to place temporary files when grading student assignments. This is the temp setting on our server. However, we've set up a special partition just for testing student code. That way, if students overflow the partition, it won't affect the temp space available for other programs running on the server. And I'll put in the address of our SMTP host for outgoing mail from the WebCat server. After those parameters are entered, the next step is to set up your authentication scheme. Our users, when they log in on the front page, are going to say that they are logging in from Virginia Tech, and I'm going to provide a short name that's used internally to identify this institution, and an email address. This is a default email domain for user email addresses, and pick the authentication scheme that we're going to use. Here I'm going to use built-in database authentication where WebCat stores its own passwords internally. There's also the possibility of using other authentication mechanisms, but I'm not going to cover that in this walkthrough. After setting up the institution information, I'm going to create an administrator account. And here I'll create one with the username admin and enter my personal information. Put in a password. Hopefully you'll use a better one than that. And there's also space for you to list additional email addresses that you'd like to receive notification of system events in addition to the administrator account. Oh, please specify the administrator's email address. Okay, now that our administrator account has been created, we are going to create some support information. First, we're going to specify the semester that we want for our initial courses that we're going to create on this WebCat instance. And creating this new semester, we can pick the name, whether you call it a semester or a term. You can pick the name that most logically applies. You can set the date for the starting and ending time. That's really for informational purposes. There is a checkbox to create some sample courses. But that's a future feature. We haven't quite got that working yet. But I'm going to go ahead and create my own department and say our department, I'm just going to call it computer science. And our department abbreviation is CS. That's the prefix that we use in all of our course numbers in the course catalog. And then I can create some initial courses to populate the database so that I don't start off with a completely empty server. And our CS1 course is called CS1705. And our CS2 course is called 1706. And there's space for a number of other courses if you need to create them, and you can also create as many as you want once WebCat is up and running. This will be enough to get us started. All right, we have confirmed installation, creation of our administrator account, and saving of all of our configuration parameters to the configuration file. And now that we've done that, we can go to log in. And to log in, I'll try the administrator account that I just created. And as soon as I get in, I'm probably going to want to go to my profile and change that password. And that's it for installing WebCat.